Where in Asuncion, Paraguay should you choose to live? Which neighborhood? I'm going to help you answer that question today in this video. We're going to be breaking down all of the most popular neighborhoods here in Asuncion. I'm going to be giving you a quick overview on all of them, as well as maybe including some that aren't so popular that I think you should still consider. So then that way you can get a feel for what each neighborhood is good for, what they're not good for. And then based off of your lifestyle and what you want to have, what you want to have access to, what sort of conveniences you want to have, what sort of social life you want to have, what sort of health and wellness you want to have, et cetera, safety, everything, you can make an informed decision on where you should live. So let's dive right in. I'll be giving you some more context as we go through the video, but I think right now we should just dive right into our first area. Where else would we start other than the beautiful bubble? You might have heard me in some of my other videos refer to this area as the gringo bubble. Now the gringo bubble is a cultural concept as well as a geographic area. For this video, we're going to be focusing on the geographic area in terms of like where most of the foreigners are going to be. Now, there is a good reason why most of them are here. Now, when you look at the map of Asuncion, you might think that the nicest area or the most, I guess, action-packed area of the city is over here in the Centro. And that is somewhat true because there are still some very nice parts of the Centro. There's a lot of fun stuff to do and there's a lot to see there. Don't sleep on El Centro. But the real winner is going to be this area. Now, it's not to say that it's the best, but based off of what you want, it might be the best for you. This is new downtown, right? This is old downtown, the historic center. So really the main focal points here are the shopping malls. A lot of people say, oh, just move close to Shopping del Sol or move close to Paseo La Galeria, move close to Shopping Mariscal, and they don't really give much context behind it. So overall, who do I think staying in this general area is good for? If you want to have a very extensive social life, this is a good area to be in. There's going to be a lot of meetups here, a lot of networking events, a lot of parties, bars, nightclubs, that sort of thing. Like if meeting people is a really big priority for you, if networking is a really big priority for you, then this is a good place to be, especially if you want to network with other expats. I'm someone who thinks that you should network with a mix of both, but there is no one size fits all. If you're really big on maybe your specific industry or for your specific business, like you want to get around other foreigners, this is where to do it. Aside from that, you do have to keep in mind that this area is going to be the most expensive. For Airbnb's sake, for long-term rental sake, and for purchasing. For an Airbnb's, I'm going to throw some approximate figures out there. If you're renting on a monthly basis, you can expect to pay on the low end, call it $800, to on the high end, $1,500, maybe as much as $2,000 per month for a nice apartment in a nice building. Now, I say apartment because most of the supply here is going to be apartments. Sure, you can find some houses and stuff like that, but those are definitely going to be quite pricey. But I think the type of person who wants to stay in this area is the type of person who's going to lean more towards an apartment, right? A furnished apartment on Airbnb, that's generally what you're gonna see. Long-term rental, you could see as low as $500 for something like a studio, up to as much as I'd say $1,200-$1,300 for something bigger. Maybe as much as $1,500 if it's like a nice 2 or 3 bedroom. You could pay as much as $1,500 for a long-term lease. But yeah, generally you're going to be paying at least 30-40% less on a long-term lease than as compared to an Airbnb. Purchasing here, you're generally going to see, again, approximately, if it's a new development, if it's something that's not built yet, as low as $1,300-$1,400 a square meter up to as high as like the low 2000s. And if it's already built, you're going to be closer to that $2,000 per square meter. If it's, a nice, well-built apartment in a desirable area, maybe even higher potentially. If you want advice on purchasing here, Reach out to me on Instagram. Check us out at Asuncion Times Homes and Property. We help foreigners go into the property market with their eyes wide open, so that way they're aware of all the challenges that do come with this property market and can make a smart decision and make a really good investment. So this is the bubble, right? Now let's talk about those were all the stats essentially, but what does life actually feel like here? So this is where we want to start to break it down into different sections, because this is where it's going to start to get more practical for you guys. I can't just tell you, okay, there's the bubble and just leave you with that. Recording still going here yet. We're about 5 minutes in. So we're going to start with this part right here. Beautiful Via Morra. Via Morra, not Villa Morra. If you call it Villa Morra, get back on the plane. Just kidding, but it is Via Morra. So this is probably the most, I guess, well-known part of the bubble. And this is a specific neighborhood, right, with a specific name. And these are the exact boundaries of Via Morra. Why is it so popular? Because of its location. If you want to be on average the least amount of Ubers possible on average, this is going to be your best bet, assuming you want to kind of be centralized and be able to be around the general area of Asuncion. But in terms of things that are like walking distance, like a 5-10 minute walk right from your apartment, you're not going to have that much. So keep that in mind. What Via Morra gets you are short, quick, cheap Ubers. Via Morra might not necessarily get you walkability to specific points of interest, because at that point you've got to pick what you want to be close to and get close to that. The only thing that I will say I know for a fact is walkable. Well, I guess there's two things that are walkable from Via Morra is Carmelitas, which is this over here. I won't highlight all of it, but this is the general area of Carmelitas over here. Oh, wait, no, am I wrong? Yes, my bad, it's over here. This over here is Carmelitas. This is going to be your main nightlife spot, but the truth is, like, I wouldn't ride with that too hard. If you really want to get into nightlife and you want to find some really good events, and you want to go to like some really cool shows or some just cool like sort of evening networking events and that sort of thing, Carmelitas is a good starting point, but it's not that saturated. Like the events aren't that saturated into Carmelitas. Like, sure, maybe about half of them, maybe 40% of them will be in Carmelitas, which is greater than any other specific point, but you will still be moving around Asuncion quite frequently if you are going out. If you want good recommendations for good nightlife, good parties, good networking events, good ways to meet people, good ways to socialize, reach out to me on Instagram at @SmonExpat or thedensityexpat.com. We can hop on a call and I will put you on to all of the sauce, because there's a lot of sauce to be had here, but you just got to know where to go. But if you just want to, have a couple bars that are walking distance and you just want to have a place to just kind of sit down and grab a beer, to just, chat with some other foreigners who you might see strolling around there, chat with some locals as well. And yeah, just kind of hang out and have a couple chill spots, then Carmelitas is a good place to do that. But I personally, like for me specifically, just to give you an example, I'm someone who does like to go out, but not that frequently. I like to go out maybe 2 or 3 weekends out of the month, like properly going out. Maybe closer to 2 actually, like in terms of clubbing. And then networking events, I will go to at least 1 or 2 per week. And I don't find myself in Carmelitas that often. I will, let's just say on average, I go to a nightclub or a bar twice per month, and I go to 4 networking events in that same month. That's 6 events total. Maybe 1 or 2 of them in total will be in Carmelitas. Because again, there's a wide range of venues around Asuncion. So don't run with it when you hear Carmelitas is the nightlife place to think that that's the only place to have fun. It just isn't. The other point of interest here with Via Morra is going to be Paseo Los Árboles, because some people really like this gym, Premier Fitness. Premier Fitness is this gym right here at the very top floor. I'm pretty sure it occupies this entire space, like this big long rectangle. It's a really nice gym. Now, there are a bunch of other good gyms, but Premier Fitness is kind of like everybody's starting point who stays in Via Morra. Bunch of foreigners there. Good place to network with people at the gym. Again, if you want to network with foreigners specifically, Premier Fitness is going to be your gym to meet foreigners at the gym. So yeah, that's what Via Morra is good for. It's a good place to be in between the 2 shopping malls. I'll talk more about the malls themselves in a second. You're close to Carmelitas. and you're close to Premier Fitness. You also do have some nice restaurants, some nice coffee shops, but the truth is you have nice restaurants and you have nice coffee shops around pretty much any neighborhood in Asuncion, or at least like any neighborhood that I'm going to talk about today. So moving on, boom, the malls. I'll call this area the malls. If we had to put, let's just say, if we had to put a bow on it, we'll go over here, boom, boom, up Aviadores a little bit, boom. If you are going to be doing business in Paraguay with Paraguayan companies, I recommend you stay here. This is known as El Eje Corporativo in Spanish, which just means like it's the CBD, the Central Business District. I guess historically, El Centro was more of that. Now it's really here. A lot of your bigger companies are going to have offices here. A lot of meetings are going to be around here. And this is your peak luxury of Asunción, especially up this area. Here you have Avenida Santísima Trinidad and Avenida Molas Lopez, or where you're going to see some really, really nice apartments and some really nice projects that are going up as well. Yeah, this is, you know, good area to invest in. I mean, so is Villa Morra for sure, but Villa Morra is just more scarce in terms of land. Villa Morra is a lot more residential. Here feels a lot more urban. I say that with, you know, with a grain of salt, like it still doesn't feel that urban, but urban-ish. And then you have the shopping malls here. If you want to be walking distance to shopping malls, this is a good place to do it. If you're somebody who likes to work at coffee shops and just likes to go to the malls to just go and like walk around and just take a breath and just stroll around, maybe hang out with some friends there. Go there, say your lunch break, say you work online, you know, maybe you start work at 10, you work from 10 to 2, you take a break from 2 to 3, and then you finish your day. During that hour, you want to be able to walk to a mall, go to the food court, grab something. A lot of your like day-to-day stuff is going to be here as well. Your banks, your food, your phone companies, you can get your phone plan here. Pay your bills here. Just like random little stuff. You've got a movie theater here. It's a good area to be if you wanna date. Oh, there's a lot of good areas to be. A lot of good, more low-key date spots. Here is definitely more saturated. Like if you tell a girl like, "Yeah, meet me at Paseo," she'd be like, "All right." Like if you met her off the apps, that's not gonna be her first date at Paseo. That's a whole other topic. So if you want to be walking distance from these malls, then this is your area you're gonna wanna be in. And this is where like day to day, you're not going to be taking many Ubers. But then when you do take Ubers out towards this area or maybe towards Mariscal, you're not going to be quite as close to somebody in Villa Morra. But again, business networking, peak luxury, walking distance to these two malls, this is what this is good for. I'd say if I had to put an archetype, this is more of a person who, high income earner, young professional, wants to do some, you know, see how they can do some business here or has plans to do business here, and who just likes luxury, likes this, like these are the most luxurious shopping malls, your nicest, fanciest restaurants, nicest, fanciest bars are going to be here. So yeah, that's more of like the kind of archetype I'd put on it. In terms of gyms, you have a Zona Fit at Paseo La Galeria. That's a really good alternative to Premier. You have the Smart Fit at Shopping del Sol. I personally don't love it because it gets really packed and it has no windows and it's underground. I call it the cave for that reason. But it's a decent option. And then you have a couple more kind of scattered around here, but those are going to be your two best bets. Traffic here can get pretty bad, especially along this road, Aviadores del Chaco, bleeding down into, what is this? Starts with an S. I forgot the name of this road. Santa Fe? No, this is not Santa Fe. San Martin, Avenida España, Aviadores del Chaco. These during peak times are going to get pretty slammed. But, you know, say it's 5 o'clock and you have a break and your day ends at 8, you have a break at 5, you could just walk to the mall and just go hang out there, go grab a bite to eat. Like you're not having to take an Uber at that time. So, next, I'm going to touch on this quickly. Not enough of you foreigners know about Distrito Perseverancia. I meet so many who have been here for months and have never been or never even heard of it. And then I show them it and they're like blown away. They're like, how did I not know about this place? So yeah, this is Distrito Perseverancia. This isn't a whole neighborhood. This is really just like one development. Distrito Perseverancia, you guys need to do more English marketing. Not enough of the English speaking community knows you exist. If you want help with that, let me know. I'm all ears on the small odds that any of them are watching this video. But yeah, this is like a indoor-outdoor mixed-use shopping mall type thing. And you know what I think is going to help here? If we go here and we click photos, are they going to load? Yes. Boom, boom. Oh man, we're wasting time here waiting for them to load. Okay, boom. Hello. They don't, oh, it's because I'm doing the line thing, my bad. Boom, okay. This is it from, this is a great shot of it, but the resolution is terrible. Well, in low resolution, you can kind of see what it is. Like there's this big outdoor terrace spot. I've recorded so many videos on this terrace. Like if you go back and watch my content, you will notice I have filmed a lot off of this terrace. Bro, it ended up nothing like this. I don't know who the hell wrote this up. At least it's not like that yet. Yeah, this is the terraced area. You know, very family friendly. A bunch of random stuff you have to filter through. Here's when it was under construction. I think it debuted in 2023 or 2024, so it's pretty new. We're filtering through a bunch of BS. There's a Casa Rica here, which is a very nice grocery store. There's a Smart Fit there, which I think is the best Smart Fit in Asuncion. You have very nice coffee shops, very nice overpriced clothes, so it's kind of luxurious in that sense. Yeah, I think if you can get close to, or more realistically live in one of these buildings in the Distrito Perseverancia, you will have your day-to-day stuff like dialed. You will have your gym, you will have your grocery store, you will have nice coffee shops, you'll be able to go on nice walks. Like you'll have a lot to see in here. And I think this is a very good alternative for somebody who might want like that more ritzy, Paseo La Galeria life, but maybe doesn't find a good option there, or maybe wants something even more convenient for walking, or maybe wants something at a better price. Now, these very apartments themselves, probably pretty similarly priced to around the shopping malls. But if you get something kind of around the general area, or if you get something within a short Uber distance away, you kind of have access to this place. Examples, I'm not going to talk too much about it. Santísima Trinidad, this is a good alternative in terms of a place to be close to the shopping malls while also being close to Distrito, because you're on the corner of this road here, Avenida Santísima Trinidad, as well as Artigas. This is a good triangle to be in. Again, another alternative if you want something slightly more affordable, but it's still a short Uber away from those places. As well as, this will transition me into Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes, I think, will be the next gringo bubble. It's not going to be as big of a gringo bubble because it's just physically not that big. But this is where, like, okay, you don't necessarily care about being close to the shopping malls and you want something that is a bit more affordable. You can find it here in Las Mercedes. I'm also going to include Barrio Jara. I won't highlight it, but Barrio Jara is this neighborhood right here next to it, also quite nice. There's some nice new buildings that are going up in Las Mercedes. There's some really nice coffee shops. It's quite walkable, and it is a little bit more economical than the shopping malls. Now, you are a short Uber away. I mean, everything is a short Uber away. As long as you're not like out of Asuncion, which I'll get into those later. Basically, everything is a short Uber away. If you can be here along Avenida España, you're in a good spot because Avenida España takes you everywhere. It does get traffic during peak hours, but it's still very navigable, and as long as it's outside of that time, you're fine. And you're also quite close to El Centro in Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes is the middle point in between the Gringo bubble and El Centro. So I'd say if price is a concern and you want an area that's still nice but slightly more affordable and you're willing to sacrifice on being close to these malls, this is the first place I would look at. There's other options. I'm just going to throw some out. Luque, although now you're starting to get farther, but Luque is another good option. Luque is a lot more local. It's not quite as convenient with, nice coffee shops and that sort of thing. Not quite as walkable as Las Mercedes either, but it is. You can definitely get something more affordable there. If you want to rent a house instead of an apartment, look in Luque. Sorry, I'm going all over the place now. Luque is a good place to do that. Lambaré is a good place to do that. Lambaré is down here. This area is a good place to do that, or just kind of towards Lambaré as well. San Lorenzo is another good place to do that. Basically, I'm gonna do this. If you really want to get something more economical and you want to be, you don't mind being further from the foreigners, like if you just want to kind of lock in and do your own thing and just live a quiet, peaceful life, take a look at everything along this line, roughly. Lambaré, San Lorenzo, Luque, Mariano Roca Alonso. Any of those with traffic, you're over half an hour, if not close to an hour away from the bubble. However, if you don't really care, maybe you're somebody who is maybe a little bit older. You've done your partying, you've done your hustle and bustle, and you just want somewhere peaceful to have your nice coffee, have your tereré, and really get to know your neighbors and really get to immerse yourself in Paraguayan culture. These are incredible places to do it. Oh, Fernando de la Mora as well. Sorry, I should have included that. Fernando de la Mora as well. Same thing. I would include Fernando de la Mora in this here. Boom, 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 boom. This is a super terribly drawn shape, but you guys get the point. Next, I want to talk about is El Centro. Don't sleep on El Centro. El Centro does, unfortunately, have a reputation for being unsafe. However, it's really not that bad. Like, as long as you're not like straying too far away, really straying down here in the middle of the night, like down here or around Mercado Cuatro, you'll be fine. There's some nice new buildings that are going up out there. I've heard it's very convenient because you just have a bunch of stuff all around you, bunch of little banks, coffee shops, stores, shops. You'll get to know your neighbors in El Centro. I think it's Las Mercedes 1 if you want to save money but still be kind of close. El Centro 2 if you want to save money but still be kind of close. You want to save money and don't care about being kind of close? That's that bubble I just drew earlier, or that ring I just drew earlier of those other neighborhoods. El Centro, dude, El Centro has its charm. There's Calle Palma right here, which is where you have a lot of cool nightlife. It feels a lot more Paraguayan. Now, one disclaimer about Las Mercedes and El Centro, you'll notice in between it is Chacarita, which has the reputation of being like the favela, the dangerous neighborhood of Asuncion. It's not that bad. You have to really go in there and really look for trouble in order to find it. And yes, you'll see some dodgy characters around the immediate area of it. However, it's not going to have massive spillover into everything around it to where, like, even in Las Mercedes, for example, it is a wealthy neighborhood. Like, for Paraguayan standards, Las Mercedes is a wealthy neighborhood. It's a very old money neighborhood, whereas the malls are more of the new money, and they take care of their streets, they take care of their area, there is security on the houses. Same goes for El Centro in a lot of parts. So yeah, you'll be fine. Again, be alert, but you'll be fine. Next thing, I really should have talked about this before, but I went completely out of order. Recoleta. Check out Recoleta. Recoleta is going to be a little bit pricier than Las Mercedes and El Centro, but Recoleta puts you in a nice residential, walkable area, close to Shopping Mariscal, ideally. I personally think being close to Shopping Mariscal from just a day-to-day vibes perspective is better than being close to these other malls. Now, if you want to network, if you want to go on luxurious, dinner dates, if you want to do business, these malls are going to be your best friend. However, if you don't really care about that and you just want to have a nice chill vibe life, but you still have a little bit of a higher budget to play with, or if you want to raise a family, if I were to raise a family in Paraguay, this would be the first neighborhood I would look in, because Recoleta is quite walkable, it's quite residential, it's quite safe, and it's not too far from all the rest of the stuff, but it's just a little bit more quiet. You have La Cuadrita. I know it's literally on my screen. It has to be on my screen. I just don't know exactly how to identify it. Come on. Fuck. All right, well, you have La Cuadrita here. I'm gonna have to cheat and type it in. Boom, I told you it was on my screen. La Cuadrita is a nice, like, little restaurants, like, cheto. Cheto means, luxurious, means bougie. Like, nice, fancy restaurant, like, just vibe, hang out, outdoor spot. It's kind of small, but it's cool. And yeah, you can get a decent-ish deal on something bigger here, like a duplex or a house. Still going to be on the pricier side of things, don't get me wrong, but you can get something a little bit... there's just more supply of that sort of stuff when you compare it to somewhere like Villa Morra or Las Lomas, right, around the shopping malls where more of that stuff is going to be more expensive. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you want more of like a detailed analysis as to what's on the map itself, what these places are, I'll talk about stuff like Mercado Cuatro, I'll go deeper into El Centro, I'll talk more about what's outside of Asunción. Watch my full map breakdown. where I took an hour and I broke down everything you need to know, while also overlapping some of what I said today, talking about the neighborhoods, but just a more extensive overview as to what this map is and how to navigate, like where to go, what to get to know, how to really experience this place from a map geographic perspective. This video was for the neighborhoods. So that's it. In summary, you've got your bubble. Villamor is well located. The shopping malls, that's where the business is going down. Recoleta is a nice, still high end, but more chill, like kind of family type area. Also, I would lump in Uguasati with that, and Barrio, like if down here, it's another good place to check out if you want something more residential. Yeah, maybe have a family, something a bit bigger. Check out Distrito Perseverancia. For the life of God, please at least go see it at some point within your first 6 months of being in Asuncion. Las Mercedes en el Centro, good, lower cost, but still convenient alternatives to the bubble. And then you've got your Ring, your Mariano, your Luque, your San Lorenzo, Fernando La Mora, and Lambaré if you want something further from the city at a much lower price and you really want to get immersed in the Paraguayan culture. So that's it. That is it. I don't want to go too long in this video. I don't want to go over 30 minutes. Let me know if there's anything more that you want to know. Leave a comment down below. Reach out to me on Instagram. Book a call, link in description if you want to just get a more one-on-one in-depth analysis as to where you should live. And I can put you on to all the sauce, all the recommendations, all the services. I mean, at this point, I'm literally building up a vault, a database of recommendations and referrals and just like cool things to see and cool people to know and just a lot of I can make your transition here very smooth. So yeah, that's it. I will see you guys here in the next one, and hopefully we'll hear from you guys and you guys will let me know, hey, I watched your video and now I'm living in my favorite neighborhood and my life in Paraguay is incredible. And I'm never getting back on the plane and I'm never leaving this place ever. I will be here until the day I die. Maybe not, but who knows? See you soon.